And Rachel Zegler, being 23 or whatever she is, like so many kids raised on TikTok, she's all for infantada is the only global solution. So the two stars hate each other. They couldn't put dwarfs because this is just so typical of the left. The progressives always finding a way to find their way back to doing something not progressive.
They're leaning into woke. Hardcore.
They're petrified
Yeah.
of some kind of backlash. Of course, like with everything on the left these days, they just take it too far.
They are pretending like Rachel Zegler is the first of them all when she looks like Lord Farquaad in the film.
Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged. I truly do believe that. There's something wrong with her. She's disturbed, she's unhappy, and she thinks it's about feminism and the patriarchy and about abortion. But the reality is she's just not stable, like the majority of people in Hollywood. They're just not stable human beings.
Cartoon was made 85 years ago, and therefore it's extremely dated when it comes to the ideas of women being in roles of power.
If she never opened her mouth and she didn't do all this nonsense, people would have gone and watched the movie. They would have made their money, but then people would have been disappointed after the math.
I will love you through these 4 years as best I can. F Donald Trump. Yeah, totally stable thing for her to be posting, wishing harm upon Trump voters, wishing that we have no peace.
Look no further than what Disney is doing with their woke DEI feminist agenda.
Then they got even crazier and they decided that the dwarves in Snow White weren't woke enough, okay? I would highly advise that you boycott this film, no matter how much your children love Snow White.
And if you disagree with this sentiment, I don't need your business. Thanks.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Please. You were saying.
Hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely. I just know that if that loneliness can exist, so can other things, and I will be okay.
I wanted my money back. It was very disappointing.
I'm really emotional, and I'm also really tired.
Oh my God, who the hell cares?
Holy crap! BillMaher just completely obliterated Rachel Zegler and this Snow White remake. He didn't just criticize it, he nuked it from orbit, calling it a $200 million dumpster fire, and, I kid you not, compared Zegler to Lord Farquaad from Shrek. I nearly fell out of my chair. The resemblance is uncanny. Zegler strutting around giving feminist lectures, while looking exactly like the tiny villain with a superiority complex. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. What's up, people? It's your boy Caleb, and I am absolutely losing my mind over what just happened with Disney's Snow White remake. This isn't just a flop. This is the most catastrophic disaster I've ever seen in Hollywood, and I'm about to break down every shocking details. Guys, are you sitting down for this? Snow White 2025 crashed and burned to a 1.6 out of 10 on IMDb. 1.6. That's not just bad, that's historically terrible. My little cousin's school project about his hamster would score higher. Disney was dreaming of a $150 million opening weekend, but instead got slapped with reality, bringing in a pathetic $43 million domestically and barely crawling to $87.3 million worldwide. When you factor in those massive marketing costs, analysts are saying Disney could lose up to $150 million on this absolute disaster. That's not a disappointment. That's a financial funeral. But wait, it gets so much worse. The disaster train started rolling back in 2022 when Zegler, fresh off her TikTok activism high, started trashing the beloved 1937 Snow White classic that generations have cherished. She had the audacity to call it weird and outdated, and then proudly declared her Snow White wouldn't dream about love anymore. Instead, she'd be dreaming about becoming a leader. Excuse me? Because nothing screams enchanting fairy tale like a corporate leadership seminar. This is absolutely ridiculous. You guys, what I'm about to tell you is unbelievable. Zegler then went completely off the rails and posted political rants with F Trump messages and told half of America she hoped they never know peace. Who does that? When you're literally the face of a children's movie, it's like she was begging to be canceled. Half the country instantly wrote her off. Even Megyn Kelly publicly called her a brat and demanded Disney fire her before she could torpedo their entire brand. The reason for this train wreck? Disney completely missed the mark on what made Snow White magical. They had the nerve, the absolute audacity, to delete "Someday My Prince Will Come," one of the most iconic Disney songs ever, and replaced it with garbage tracks like "Echo Echo" and "Mirrors Lie." It's absolutely true. They wrote lyrics about dreams coming true if you just echo them into the void. What does that even mean? Mirrors Lie felt like it lasted forever, and not even Gal Gadot's voice could save that catastrophe. People online dragged this nonsense to filth. My favorite comment was, "Snow White is a musical, not a lecture hall." Preach. Guys, listen to this madness. In the original Snow White, she cleans the dwarf's cottage because she's grateful they let her stay. She cooks and cares for them because she's kind. In this remake, she breaks into their house and then tells them to clean. She actually says, "Whistle while you work" to the dwarfs while they're cleaning. The original Snow White sang that while doing the work herself. The prince barely existed. He got like 5 minutes of screen time, just enough to make him look completely useless. Even the evil queen, one of Disney's most iconic villains, got butchered into some boring, watered-down character with zero personality. They stripped away every ounce of magic and replaced it with preachy messaging nobody asked for. It's like they were trying to make people hate it. But wait, it gets so much crazier. The situation with the 7 dwarfs is beyond belief. Disney originally planned to cast actual little people actors. You know, like the actual story has always had. Then Peter Dinklage swooped in and complained that hiring little people would be offensive. And Disney, showing absolutely no backbone, immediately caved and replaced them with CGI magical creatures that looked like rejected extras from a Sci-Fi Channel original movie. When the pictures leaked online, the internet lost it. People were howling with laughter at how ridiculous these things looked. I'm talking nightmare fuel levels of bad. Here's where it gets absolutely insane. The actual dwarfism community was furious, not at Disney's original casting, but at Dinklage and the studio for stealing their jobs. Real actors with dwarfism basically told Dinklage to stay in his lane, because while he's sitting pretty on his Game of Thrones millions, they're just trying to put food on the table. Disney's pathetic attempt to be progressive literally erased jobs for the very people they claimed to support. When they panicked and tried to fix it with reshoots, they created these random bandits that made zero sense to the story. The whole thing is peak hypocrisy. Behind the scenes, total meltdown mode. My sources tell me Disney executives are losing their minds, privately calling Zegler box office poison. There are serious whispers that other movie franchises are scrambling to distance themselves from her toxic brand. She may have even lost a role in an upcoming Hunger Games prequel, and casting directors are reportedly avoiding attaching her name to major projects. Some insiders even spilled the tea about major tension between Zegler and her co-star Gal Gadot over political differences, creating an absolute nightmare environment on set. One Disney exec reportedly screamed, "We're $242 million in, and our lead actress literally hates our film." I cannot even imagine the panic attacks happening in those boardrooms. The audience rejection was savage and immediate. Theater attendance plummeted 60% compared to other Disney princess remakes like Cinderella. No excited kids dressed as princesses, no long lines, just empty seats and viewers walking out midway. Wall Street noticed too. Disney's stock tanked 3% after the premiere. That's hundreds of millions in company value evaporating because of this catastrophe. The studio is reportedly rethinking their entire remake strategy, with several planned productions now on hold indefinitely. Shareholders must be screaming. The merchandise situation is the final nail in the coffin. Snow White products are collecting dust on store shelves like they're radioactive. Parents weren't fooled for a single second by this garbage. One mom perfectly summed it up online. "My daughter wanted songs, not speeches." Exactly. families wanted fairy tales and magic, not political messaging disguised as entertainment. Disney completely missed what their actual audience wanted. It's like they forgot who buys princess merchandise. It gets even more pathetic, if you can believe it. After years of trashing Snow White, Zegler suddenly appeared at Disney World in 2025, putting on this embarrassing performance, fake crying about how much she loved the character. It was so painfully obvious and cringeworthy that fans demolished her online, calling it the worst acting performance of her career. And that's saying something. You could practically see the Disney executives off-camera sweating bullets, holding giant cue cards, and praying she wouldn't go off script and say something else to tank their stock. The contrast with actresses who actually know how to handle reboots is night and day. Look at Drew Barrymore when she rebooted Charlie's Angels. She showed genuine respect for the original, even though it was cheesy. She didn't trash what came before or lecture audiences about how problematic it was. Meanwhile, Zegler acted like she was too cool and too woke for a Disney classic that millions of people love. The audacity is just breathtaking. Just think about this. Disney handed Rachel Zegler a golden opportunity that thousands of actresses would literally kill for, and she destroyed it with her arrogance and political messaging that alienated half the country. Everything that could possibly go wrong did go wrong, with Zegler right in the middle holding the match to the gasoline. So what's the final takeaway from this epic dumpster fire? Rachel Zegler went from trying to be the fairest of them all to becoming the biggest flop of them all. No amount of damage control or fake tears is going to resurrect this career-ending mess. Hollywood moves fast, and studios are running in the opposite direction from an actress who publicly trashed her own movie, alienated half her audience, and helped incinerate a $242 million investment. Even in 2025, audiences still want actual magic and storytelling in their fairy tales, not lectures disguised as entertainment. As Disney licks their wounds and tries to recover from this catastrophe, they've learned the hardest possible lesson. When you strip away everything people love about a classic and replace it with woke nonsense, don't act shocked when they walk out and never come back. What beloved Disney classic do you think they're going to destroy next? Will these studios ever learn their lesson and actually start listening to what fans want? I am dying to hear your thoughts. If this breakdown got you fired up as much as it did me, smash that subscribe button right now and join the Caleb Speaks fam. I promise to always bring you the unfiltered truth about Hollywood's biggest disasters. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I want to hear what you think about this Snow White fiasco. Caleb signing out, and I'll see you in the next one.